All right, y'all. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Today we're going to be talking briefly about JB Shabbazz flipping from Tennessee to North Carolina. I really want to focus a lot more on Tennessee. Obviously, we've been scouting Georgia. I've come up with a couple of things that I think will be kind of like keys to that game. We got to start to find the players that can execute on those things coming up this weekend. So I'll kind of go through that list. Of course, we'll jump inside the film room so I can back up what I'm talking about. But y'all please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to start off right here with JB, just very briefly, man. He's a very good player, I think, as an offensive lineman. Four-star guy. I think he has good size. To me, out of all the players in this class, just, on the offensive line, he was probably the second closest to being able to play early for us. And when I say early, I mean, as a freshman, if we get into a bind, we have to throw somebody out there. He could play a guard. He could play a tackle. So, very versatile from that standpoint. Sounds like North Carolina offered him more money than Tennessee did, and we weren't willing to necessarily match what North Carolina did. That's coming from the insiders. And all that it ultimately means for this team is, hey, man, we're going to have some more money, going down the line to allocate to some different players, whether that be at offensive line or I would say defensive tackle. Guys like J.J. Finch playing at, Bama, or not playing at Bama, but he chose Bama. We know that Alabama's defense looks really bad. I could very easily see us maybe using some of those funds to bring him, onto this team. But we still have a couple of players like Brody Smith, who I think he's actually going to be choosing his program within like the next couple of weeks. So he's a guy that maybe would have more room to add at offensive line in this class. I think he's a really good player. If worst case, I'd say that we have to go to the transfer portal and pick somebody up. And that's really worst case, like maybe somebody gets banged up, just because the offensive line that we currently have, y'all, we're so deep there that none of the guys in this class were probably going to be asked to play early anyway. So with all those things being said, let's go on ahead and talk about what we have going on with just like some of my scouting, right? With some of the things that I see being some, pretty much like keys to the game versus Georgia. So versus ETSU, first and foremost, we need to get healthy and we also need to stay healthy. What that means to me is if there's a player that's dealing with anything at all, they don't need to be going in this game, especially if they play like defensive tackle, if they play corner or safety, the spots where we're not as deep at. Just what's the point in them playing? Let's see who we have behind them. Let's get those players, the youth or the new players, get them some more reps. So I already told y'all, Bryson Eason, for me, he would not be playing in this game at all. But outside of that, man, I would say at number two, and this is in order for me, we got to find space players. We already know about the guys that are starters. And, I would say all of our starters, maybe a couple of the depth pieces like second string, third string. Not quite sure. How do they look out in space? We got to find those types of players, and y'all understand why once we get into the actual film breakdown portion of this. But number three for me is going to be defensive ends, right? So now we're just getting into like the individual groups of players that we need to, find out, can they do these types of things? But number one, really, just out of all the players, is going to be defensive end. I think that's going to be the most important piece in this game for Tennessee. Our defensive ends need to play well, not just with the pass rush, but also, versus the options. We got to be able to stop Gunnar Stockton's legs. Number four is going to be linebacker, same thing there, plus coverage. Their coverage in zone needs to be better than it has been over the past few seasons versus Georgia. Number five, safeties, exact same thing. They're going to, be like conflict players. So versus the run, versus the option, versus the pass. And then I would say we need to find a good rotation at defensive tackle. So Bryson Eason, don't really want him playing in this game. He's going to be one of our starters. Is Jackson Moore going to come back? We don't know. I would be getting ready like he won't be. Not that I know that he won't, but that's the way that I'd be getting ready, because we really need to rotate more players. Our tackles got gassed so bad in that game. It's because they had way too many snaps. So who's going to step up in stopping the run and getting some pressure on the quarterback and knowing what to do, so on and so forth? I think that our defensive tackles can definitely wreak havoc in this game versus Coach Bobo's son playing at center. So, who's going to step up there? And I'll also point out this. I know that people are asking about Tyree West and Don Bailey sliding inside and playing at tackle. Don Bailey did it a lot for us last weekend. I think that Tyree West could also do it, especially in passing situations. But I'll also say this, at strong side DN, if it was me coaching, I would have, one of the Tyrees starting there in this game, just because they're better athletes, right? So, and also that gives us more flexibility for Don Bailey to bump inside and give us more reps there and keep other players fresh. That's the way that I would personally do it. Now, at number seven, our quarterback's legs. I'm talking about Joey Aguilar. There had to be somewhat of a factor in this game. Not saying that he has to run for, 50 yards or nothing. Give us one or two runs and just prove to Georgia that you will tuck and run, that you will keep and run on some of that type of stuff. If he does it, Georgia will start to honor it. They'll like over honor it, and that'll open up everything else. And then at number 8, haven't really heard as many people talking about this, but I'm excited to see how the backup quarterbacks look for Tennessee. I feel like at some point they might have to step up for us, right? Like, have they grown? Have they gotten better? I want to see how all that looks, because that would also have some implications on our team for next year. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this film room and let me show you what I'm talking about with why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like I said, man, number 1 is going to be about being able to play out in space. So quarterback runs. I think that if we can slow down Gunnar Stockton's legs, we pretty much slow down all of Georgia's offense. I'm going to take y'all through what they looks like they do the absolute best. Small sample size just from this season, but pretty much same things that we saw on film from their offense over the course of last year. So first and foremost, y'all seeing these long yellow lines. What's that mean? It means don't let anything get outside of that. So if you're a defensive end, if you're a linebacker, if you're a safety, whoever, don't let them break the outside contain. Keep them inside of the pocket, make them have to come back to the teeth of our defense. So you're seeing circled in yellow on y'all's left side. That's a defensive end, I think. Watch what he's doing on this play. So this is an option, and he doesn't play this well. Like, you've got to get to that surf technique, and you have to make the quarterback pause for a little bit longer, let us catch up some, but you can't just let them get to the outside of you, all right? Like, you can't just let the quarterback keep it like this, because now look at that. We have 2 people who do the same thing. That's 6 points, especially in the red area. Now you're going to see a defensive end on this opposite side doing the exact same thing. He's going to crash hard on this run. You got to be disciplined. Then you've got the next guy who's either a linebacker or he's a safety, something, does the exact same thing. We can't have 2 people doing this. It's just we're giving them free, cheap, easy yards. And I think that if we can slow down these types of things like they do on this play, on the speed option, this is a DN2, I think. If we can do that, it's pretty simple to stop it's pretty simple to stop their whole offensive flow. Now, in the passing game, the quarterbacks can also scramble. So still have to keep the outside contained as pass rushers. I would say that just based off the things we've looked at, my vote for the second string Leo would probably be Jordan Ross at this point, just based off of the first game of the season. I think that Caleb Herring is a very good player, but he did not play very well in keeping outside contained versus Syracuse. I'm just going to say several of the outside runs that Syracuse had was on Caleb Herring, crashing to the inside. You can't do that, all right? Like, whenever you're rushing, definitely can't do that. Because if you get too far up the field, and also we have a couple of people blitzing. Could be a safety, could be a linebacker, could be a corner, whoever. You cannot get too far up the field and let Gunnar Stockton do things like this, especially on 3rd downs, 4th downs. I mean, that's just, they can be game breakers. So here, if you're a linebacker and you got a kill shot on the quarterback, you don't always have to take it. Just hold on to him, grab him, slow him down, make him do something stupid. Don't want to see plays like that. I don't think that we'll do that, but I would love to see Jordan Burns getting an opportunity. To me, he's one of our best blitzing linebackers. I don't think he played at all last weekend. Also going to be very good out in coverage. He's going to be great out in space, which as we're getting into the passing game, y'all can see they do a ton of quick screens, right? Of like wide screens. Actually, I think last year they ran more wide screens than any other team in the whole country. Probably not going to change. Doesn't feel like that changed too much. So you got to be able to play out in space, come up, make the tackles, and then, of course, they'll try to run the coverage off and then get a very skillful player one-on-one with like a linebacker or somebody that's not great out in space. I think the Arion Carter, Jordan Burns, like I just said, maybe even guys like Jaden Harmon or, either of the Jadens, I think could be a pretty good option if it's like a 3rd and long sort of a situation. And they might be great options there because they're going to look a lot better out in space. Not taking a shot at Jeremiah Thielander or Edwin Spillman, but this is what we should be looking for, and that's why the young guys need to play. So linebacker playing out in space, he pretty much has no chance here. Just go up there. You don't have to kill the people. Just slow them down. Hold on to them. The next person takes the kill shot or goes after the football. You can't be getting blocked down the field if you're a secondary guy, right? Like, if you're getting held, you got to show that to the refs. I mean, make a big deal out of it. These are the types of things that we've got to be looking for, that we've got to be working on. You're going to see the same thing here, right? It's just a tunnel screen. And you got, 2 players here just getting blocked. But what I do like is that they're at least forcing things back to the inside, right? So keep the contain, and we're going to have much faster players, much better athletes coming from the inside to be able to make those tackles. But here, these guys, they're not doing it. Like, you got the chance at the point of contact, you've got to finish. Like, we got to be really good open field tacklers. And if we can do that, then Tennessee is going to be fine. This is the bulk of their offense. It's the quarterback's legs. It's these quick screens. They've got some very talented players that they're throwing the football to here. Just come up and tackle, just like this. Pretty simple, right? They also like to do some of these boots and things like that, dump it off to their tight ends. They try to, get to the outside of the defense and just dump it off and let them run, but you got to stick them. I actually like number 0 playing at safety for Marshall. I wouldn't mind going out and targeting him. But here we can see a DN linebacker, somebody, don't let them break the contain. That's that line again. Don't let them get outside of that. Nothing crosses your face. Second guy actually does that too. So right here in red, running back, you just dump it off to him. Good job here by the linebacker of chasing that down and making a tackle. But if that's like a 3rd and short or whatever, that's a freaking backbreaker. Now here, if you're playing any type of a zone, I would say especially zone, the people in the middle, so linebackers, safeties, you can't just cover grass. Now, I think that both of these guys in yellow here, they're spine gunner Stockton. In this area, you might need 2 guys. But like I said, Jordan Burns, he can fly. He's really good out in space. So is Ariana Carter. Might want those guys playing here. Only one guy needs to be spine for us. And then you have somebody else that can drop into that red area, right, which is where there's an opening at, so that it's easier on the cornerbacks on these routes, okay? Like, we can't just be covering grass. You got to protect the middle. We know that Georgia loves to throw a whole lot of middle passes. Here, the middle of the field's wide open. This is man. This is also why people say, well, let's run some more man. I mean, typically, yeah, you would think that it should slow down some of these middle passes. Doesn't always. So Marshall's actually blitzing here, so you always throw right at that blitz. If you get a chance there, take that kill shot. I highlight, take that shot. If he's already thrown it, just go ahead and follow through with that. But outside of those things, man, just talking about Joey Aguilar's legs. Georgia loves to run 2 deep safeties because they want to get their cornerbacks help. They don't want the cornerbacks getting beat over the top. So they're going to keep 2 deep safeties most of the time. And what that means is it's a lighter box. Tennessee can always just run with our running backs, but sometimes you can run the coverage off in a pass and just run like a quarterback draw. Get you a quick, easy, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards. I think that Joey Aguilar can do that. Of course, he needs to slide to get himself down. Don't try to do too much. Take care of the football, but you're going to see the same thing here. It's always there versus anybody from the Nick Saban tree of coaching defense. Always there. Nick Saban couldn't stop it. Kirby Smart can't really stop it. That's just how they roll. But those are my thoughts, and that's what I'm looking for coming up this weekend. Please share yours down in that comment section. And as always, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be talking to y'all tomorrow. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.